Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and tonight. We hope you'll stay on for the entire hour we're on. We have a lot of stuff to go over. We have a lot of important guests that are going to be on the call as well. We're here to answer questions and to educate. And so, if you have a question, please press 0 on the keypad on your phone, 0 if you have a question. And we're collecting email addresses. If you want to provide us your email address so we can send you an email update from time to time, please press 7 on the keypad on your phone. I'm going to go over this a couple more times, or we're getting more neighbors on the call. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our telephone town hall meeting. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you have a question, especially the mayor, and he's chomping at the bit ready to answer questions, press 0 on the keypad on your phone. Press 7 on the keypad on your phone, if you wouldn't mind, to provide us your email address for email updates. So don't be shy. Ask those questions. We're here to answer questions. Press that 0 on the phone there, right there. It's right there. Boom. All right, Mayor, go ahead and take it away if you would, please.
Thank you, Kurt. And thank you, West Palm Beach residents, neighbors, and business owners for being with us for the COVID-19 Teletown Hall. Now, this Teletown Hall is an opportunity to have your questions answered about our response to and recovery from COVID-19. Special thanks to Congresswoman Lois Frankel, Palm Beach County Mayor Dave Kerner, West Palm Beach Fire Chief Diana Matty, and Florida Small Business Development Center Network CEO Michael Myrie. We hope that you'll find this town hall informative. Now, it goes without saying that these are some very trying times for so many in our community, and the impacts of COVID-19 have been utterly devastating. Some of us have lost friends or family to COVID-19. Others have lost jobs or revenue. Our hearts go out at everyone during this time. But I do believe in my heart of hearts that we can get through this, and we will get through this. And we will get through this the West Palm Beach way together. In a few minutes, I'll introduce our special guests. But real quickly, I want to go to some of the things that we as a city are doing to support our residents and business owners during this challenging time. First of all, thank you to our first responders and our healthcare workers on the front line of this pandemic. We all owe them a debt of gratitude. They are the true heroes. Special thanks also to all City of West Palm Beach employees who continue working to provide services to our residents and keep our city running. Now, right now, we remain under a state of emergency. Our Emergency Operations Center is activated at Level 2. It's led by Chiefs Diana Matty, Brent Bloomfield, and Sarah Mooney. And with those three, we have the best and brightest, and yes, I'm biased, we have the best and brightest running our Emergency Operations Center right now. And I could not be more prouder or more confident that we are going in the right direction. We continue to have conversations about the reopening of our city. The county just held a press conference and made some announcements about this. But meanwhile, everyone should continue to wear face coverings, practice social distancing, and follow any stay-at-home guidance issued, especially those who are 65 or over or have underlying conditions. I know these measures are difficult, but ladies and gentlemen, they have proven effective. You, by compliance, are saving lives. Now, here in the city, we've established a number of programs to help our residents, including families and seniors. First, the city has received almost 50 applications to its rental eviction protection program, which provides temporary rental assistance up to 2 months' worth of rent due to a loss of income as a direct result of COVID-19 mitigation. Each week, the city provides assistance to 25 people completing their unemployment applications. And on May 1st, we will begin offering assistance with food stamps applications. We offer the SOS program, which provides temporary assistance for critical needs to low-income elderly residents in West Palm Beach. We are working hard to bring more mobile testing to our city to serve various populations that cannot get to a testing site. So far, we have served close to 400 people in 2 weeks at our pop-up testing locations in the Coleman Park neighborhood and at Gaines Park. I signed an executive order requiring anyone coordinating a food distribution event in West Palm Beach to register with the city. We are looking to offer food programs in West Palm Beach, and we encourage those, but we want residents to have confidence that those events are conducted safely. The city donated to Hospitality Helping Hands, which serves meals to unemployed restaurant workers and seniors in need. I have also established the WPB Together Fund, and I challenge anyone or any company that is able to match the city's $309,000 of assistance provided. Thanks to all those who have contributed thus far. All of those funds will be allocated to nonprofits who are serving West Palm Beach residents during the midst of this pandemic. The Mandel Public Library's digital library remains open to the public. Anyone can get a library card and access digital resources such as movies, music, and books. Now, we've also established a number of programs to help West Palm Beach businesses. The city has approved 15 recovery and assistance program applications totaling $139,000 in grant funds for small businesses. The program makes available short-term loans in amounts between $5,000 and $10,000, and I believe we're going to get our first money on the street as soon as tomorrow. We created West Palm Eats, a web portal to promote West Palm Beach restaurants. Soon we will introduce West Palm Beach shops to promote West Palm Beach stores. We've got to get our businesses going again, but safely. We've also shared information with our business community about state and federal programs. We established the COVID-19 response unit. This allows our directors to continue to do the work necessary to run the city and continue to provide essential services. Each of those teams is being led by a current city commissioner or former Mayor Jerry Moya. Those teams include housing and homeless, economic support and recovery, seniors, children and families, food, water and medicine, community services and volunteer engagement, nonprofits and faith-based outreach, and health and public safety. Thank you, Commissioners and Mayor Moya. Now, you can learn about any of these programs by visiting our website, WPB.org, and clicking on the COVID-19 page. Now, let me introduce my special guest. Congresswoman Franco, you on? Well, I'll read her bio.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. Congresswoman Franco is the U.S. Representative for Florida's District 21. She sits on the powerful House Appropriations Committee. And Congresswoman, we were just finishing up the introduction. Would you like to say a few words to our callers, please?
Sure. First of all, thank you. I listened to you. I want to echo your very good advice that everybody continue to socially distance whenever it is possible. Wear a mask if you got to go to the market, and keep washing those hands. And this is the reason that we see cases someplace, going down, and we do not want to have a big relapse. And I am glad to hear that there's going to be some relaxation. At least I think there's going to be some recreational, some parks open and so forth. I know the mental stress on people is great. What I want to do, if I could, I just want to give a very quick overview of some of the federal benefits that people can expect. I say can expect because I know there's been a backlog. Number one, hopefully anybody who is earning up to $75,000, actually up to $99,000, you've already gotten a direct cash infusion of $1,200 per individual plus $500 per child into your bank account. If you haven't gotten that, please go to the IRS website, irs.gov/coronavirus, and give them your bank account information. Otherwise, you're going to get a check, and it may take weeks and weeks to get that check. On unemployment, my phone has been ringing off the hook because people are having a terrible time getting through to Florida unemployment. I feel your pain. So does the mayor, because his phone is ringing off the hook too. And I am so sorry to tell you that neither of us can do very much about that. This is something that the governor of Florida has to fix. My understanding is he is trying. He's hired a lot more people. But here's some good news, the good and the bad. Florida, unfortunately, has probably the worst benefit system in the country, $275 maximum a week for 12 weeks. The good news is that the federal government, we did pass legislation that will give another $600 per week for at least 16 weeks to anybody who goes on unemployment. Also, under the federal legislation now, people who are self-employed or otherwise was not qualified to get Florida unemployment can now still can get unemployment. So my suggestion to you is, if you haven't been able to click on to the webpage, I think they just opened it up again today, is to be patient but keep trying and make sure you make a copy when you click on, take a screenshot of the date you apply. Some more good news today on small businesses. The payroll protection program for folks, we've replenished that. Another few $100 billion going into that fund. If you have a small business under 500 and you want to pay your employees and get a free loan, contact your bank and they will tell you how to apply. There's also an emergency loan program where you can get another, it's a free $10,000, and you can go on to the SBA webpage and you can see how to get to that emergency money. The other thing, for those of you who are over 65, we did loosen make it easier to get money from your 401k. You can take up to $100,000 without a penalty from your 401k if you need that to survive due to the coronavirus pandemic. So, Mayor, those are some of the basic programs that cover everybody. There's also, of course, now we have paid leave for employees who need to care for a child who's in school, or and medical leave for people who have to care for a child or themselves or out because of the coronavirus, and their employer will get a full tax credit for paying them while they are out. For those who are hungry, and unfortunately we have too many of those people in this state and this country, especially because people have been unable to get their unemployment checks, we put more money into food assistance, and there is food assistance throughout this county, including through many, many schools. So with that, I'll be on. Are you going to take questions today, or is?
Yes, Mayor. Yes, Congresswoman. Let me introduce the other guests. Please hold tight, because I'm sure there'll be a ton of questions for you from the federal perspective. The next guest I'd like to introduce is the best fire chief in the state, and yes, I'm biased, and that's West Palm Beach Fire Chief Diana Maddie, who has been our fire chief since 2017. Chief Maddie, do you have any updates you'd like to share?
Thank you, Mayor. You're too kind. Certainly, I have listened to this press conference that was on by the county today, and talking about us being able to get outside and get in our parks and start playing on the water again. But I just really want to encourage people to stay home if you're sick. And just because we're allowed outside again, let's remember to practice good respiratory etiquette. You know, if you have to cough into your arm. Keep our hands washed and maintain social distancing if at all possible. And a bigger part, too, that it's unfortunate, we are creeping up and we're 34 days away from hurricane season. So we all have to keep that in mind as well. So as we venture out over the weekend, start thinking about what hurricane supplies you may need, because right now, under normal circumstances, that would be the drum that we are beating. Right now, our EOC has been functioning for 40-something days, 7 days a week. And focused mainly on COVID-19 response. and partially on recovery from it, but we also have phased into hurricane preparedness. So getting our fire stations checked and ready and pushing that information out to our firefighters to make sure that we're ready in the event that we have to respond to COVID calls during a hurricane. So that's my take on what's been going on the last couple of months, and just reminding people that not to let our guard down just because we can go to parks and go out in the water this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Maddie, and thank you for the reminders about hurricane preparedness. The next guest I would like to introduce is Mayor Dave Kerner. Dave Kerner is the current county mayor of and a county commissioner for Palm Beach County and a former member of the Florida House of Representatives. Mayor Kerner, special thanks to you and County Administrator Videnia Baker for your partnership. And Mayor, I know you just wrapped up a press conference. Do you have some updates you would like to share? Mayor Kerner?
I don't think he's on yet, Mayor. I don't think he's on. I think he's still in his press conference. So just letting you know. Okay,
all right. We would advise. We'll get back to him. Michael Myrie is the CEO of the Florida Small Business Development Center Network. Michael, do you have some updates to share with the public?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. For those that don't know, the Florida SBDC is our state's principal small business development agency. And the SBDC is a key member of the state's emergency response team and really the designated first responders for small businesses in Florida. In that capacity, it's our responsibility to coordinate and facilitate and help bring access to the state and federal business recovery resources that are available to our small businesses to help them sustain operations during times of disaster, but also rebuild and recover post-disaster. To achieve this goal, we work with our federal partners at the U.S. Small Business Administration, our state partners at the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, but also our local partners, including the City of Palm Beach. Mayor, it's my understanding that our local SBDC is helping the city execute its COVID-19 Small Business Recovery Assistance Program and working with your Director of Economic Development, I believe it's Christopher Rug. So we're glad to be helping in that local effort as well. There is no doubt that the coronavirus is having an adverse impact on our state's most important economic contributors, and that's our state small businesses. Recently ADP released its national employment report, and it indicated that the nation lost 27,000 jobs between February and March. But what's most important to understand about behind those numbers is that businesses with 50 or more employees actually gained employment, 63,000 jobs during that period of time. But it was small businesses with fewer than 50 employees that actually lost 90,000 jobs. So recognizing this and recognizing that the coronavirus is going to have an economic adverse impact to our small businesses, Congress actually came together very quickly in a very bipartisan way to put out the CARES Act back on March 27th. That CARES Act provided a couple of provisions within it that are really attractive relief programs and loan programs for our state small businesses. The first is the Paycheck Protection Program. This is an extremely great program that helps our small businesses retain employees. The Congresswoman highlighted that a little bit. The Paycheck Protection Program allows our small businesses to get loans of up to 2.5 times their average monthly payroll, up to $10 million. But no one is coming really close to that $10 million threshold. To be eligible for this program, simply the business has to have fewer than 500 employees or less than their statutory defined maximum, which actually can be higher than 500 in some cases. These are forgivable loans, meaning that if you utilize the proceeds as designated in the CARES Act, they can be forgiven and not repaid. And to achieve that, you principally have to utilize those resources to cover payroll costs, that is, to retain your employees and continue to pay them even if the business is not open and the employees are not working. We know that businesses that lose, or small businesses that lose their employees after disaster events, have a less likelihood of recovering after the disaster event. So this is a great program that Congress really stepped forward to fund. And what's also attractive about these is even if you don't utilize the full amount of the loan proceeds for their intended purpose, that is for payroll costs and a few other operational costs, the loan converts into a 2-year 1% interest loan. So it's a great program. There's also the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. This is one of SBA's staple disaster loan programs. These are the long-term solution. These are long-term loans, but they're low interest. Eligible small businesses, again, or any business with fewer than 500 employees, can borrow up to $2 million at a fixed interest rate of 3.75% for a term of up to 30 years. But unlike the PPP, these are not forgivable loans with one exception, and the Congresswoman mentioned these emergency advance grants. Businesses that apply for an economic injury disaster loan can request an emergency advance that will provide them with $1,000 per employee up to 10 employees. And this is an amount that does not need to be repaid. So it's a very attractive thing. Furthermore, the CARES Act, Congress recognizes we didn't need to burden our small businesses any further with long loan application processes. They really streamlined the application. It is now a 3-page application that requires the business owner to answer some questions certifying that they are eligible for the program. And as the Congresswoman said, we ran out of money real quick for both the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. About 10 days ago, both of those programs exhausted the initial appropriation made back on March 27th. But last week, the Congresswoman, along with her colleagues, replenished both of those critical programs, and both of them actually reopened today. So banks are accepting applications for the Paycheck Protection Program, and SBA is now accepting applications for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. But if somebody has not yet applied, I would highly encourage them to do so and do so quickly. As those initial appropriations were exhausted within 10 days, I expect that these new appropriations will be exhausted in a matter of a few days. So they really have to jump on it to seek out these opportunities. That's what I have, Mayor.
Michael, thank you so much. We really appreciate that information.
Hey, Michael,
I heard that Mayor Kerner is on the line. Mayor, are you here?
He is.
All right, thank you. Welcome. I gave you a very glowing and warm introduction. I'm not going to repeat that, so you have to listen to the tape.
All right, I mean, you can repeat it if you want.
No, that's all right. We got to get to the question. Listen, okay. Do you have any updates? I know you're just coming fresh off of your press conference, so I'm anxious to hear what you have to tell the people.
I do have an update, and the mayor is being humble in that he knows that I have an update because his leadership has been critical as the only strong mayor in the county, and as the county seat. West Palm always plays an outsized role in local decisions, and that's the case here. And so I want to say that it's been a pleasure to get to know the mayor better. We were colleagues and friends prior to his election as the mayor, and it really has been the limelight, I can tell you that it's been an incredible experience for me as a younger leader to work with the Mayor James and even Governor DeSantis. It's been a pleasure to see leaders working in the best interest of their community. So I commend you, sir.
Thank you.
Going forward, the update in a very general sense is that the county charter allows the county orders to essentially, I don't want to say preempt, but when it comes to issues of law enforcement, such as the restrictions we have in place, we look to the other city mayors to sort of stay on board with us. And so what the county has done is identified 4 areas of recreation with the assistance of our local elected leaders to open up in the county on Wednesday. Now, let me bifurcate for you 2 separate issues going on in government right now. The governor has convened a task force to open up the economy, and we're going to follow, obviously, his lead. But the local officials have been designated really to work on some recreational issues. And so on Wednesday, the 4 areas of recreation to open will be golf, and then county municipal parks at the discretion of the local cities, but our county parks will begin to open. Then we will have what we call marinas and waterways, so those will begin to open up and people can access their boats in the waterways. And then finally, the natural areas if I didn't say golf, I meant to throw golf in there as well. So golf, waterways, parks, and swimming, community pools. And so we have a very strict guideline and structure in place that we worked with the county mayor of Miami-Dade on. And so there's a carrot and a stick. And I trust, as the mayor does, that once this is opened up on Wednesday, that the community will still respond just as effectively and diligently in the social distancing and restrictions that are in place.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Mike.
I didn't know if he was finished or not. I've never heard David speak so shortly. But anyway, thank you, Mayor Kerner. I truly appreciate it. That's very exciting news, but we do have to warn our public, remind them that social distancing protocols are still very much in order. And thanks to all of our special guests. Now, I know our residents have a ton of questions. We've heard from the federal, state. We've heard from the economic expert. And I'm here representing the local. So, Kurt, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and you can fire away with the questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first one's Michael, and Michael's question's for the chief. Michael, welcome to the call. Michael, go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, thank you. Since it's been shown by empirical evidence that the coronavirus could only live on an N95 mask for at most 7 days, probably less, can a mask be reused after 7 days? And if so, can a first responder or a healthcare worker rotate 7 masks over and over again, which would then allow 7 masks to last for a very long time?
Hi, this is Diana. That's a very good question, and I'll be brief in that I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you what we are doing in the city of West Palm Beach with our paramedics is that they are wearing an N95 mask on 5 sequential 911 calls, and they're wearing them on every single call, and then that mask is disposed of and they get a new one. Or if they go to a COVID positive patient or their mask gets soiled in any way with whatever they may encounter on that call, then they dispose of it and get a new mask. Now, there are some emerging technologies such as the Battelle unit that was just approved by the FDA in the last month. There's one in Miami, and there's one that will be coming to our area, and it is a size of a trailer, essentially. Like it's a Connex box that they modify, and they inject or aerosolize hydrogen peroxide in order to clean those masks. So as far as the reuse of masks, that's been a constantly changing document by the CDC, and we are comfortable with what we have been using on our medics here in the city of West Palm Beach.
Thank you, Chief. I want to take another question. It's Joseph, and this is for Mike. I'm supposed to read it. Small business owner, are there any virus grants local, not through the government? Mike, your thoughts.
Yeah, many communities have actually put together both public and private sector initiatives to assist small businesses with grant efforts. I know Facebook and the U.S. Chamber have done some things on a national basis, and I know that the City of Palm Beach is and I think the mayor in your opening comments talked about your COVID-19 for small business microloan program. You might want to provide a little bit more information about that for our caller.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Let's take another question right away if we can. It's Doris, and Doris's question is for Mayor Keith. Doris, go ahead with your question if you would, please, and welcome.
Good evening to everyone. I want to thank the Urban League for the corona test that they gave on Saturday. I want to thank all the mayors, Mayor Frankel, Muyo, everybody. My question is, what are we doing with the landlords when they come because they want their rent? The $1,500 that we got is not enough. You pay April, but then you're going to still owe May. Unemployment, you can't even get into the line. I'll try again later today since the line open again.
Doris, we need to know what your question is, please.
My question is, are they going to be able to help us with the rent? Because the unemployment is not kicking in.
Doris, thank you very much for the question. I'm going to approach it in two ways. One is we do have assistance with completing your unemployment application. City staff is available by appointment only to assist you with the reemployment application as well as food stamp benefits. Now, we also have another program that the city put together, which is our rental eviction relief program. And so, rental eviction protection program. And that can provide up to 2 months worth of rent. But that's also by application, and you got to show that you lost income as a direct result of COVID-19 mitigation. So that is something, and here's the number that you can call, 822-1250 to apply for that program. So we can help you apply with your unemployment assistance application, and then we also have a program where we could provide up to 2 months worth of rent, but you have to apply for that. That number again is 822-1250.
Let's take another question as soon as we can here. I want to remind people that if they had a question, press 0, but we're always trying to build the email list up a bit, and if you wouldn't mind, press 7 to provide us your email address. 7 on the keypad in your phone, 7 for email addresses. Congresswoman, this question's for you. It's from Philip. Philip, welcome to the call. Philip, go ahead with your question, please.
I'm sorry, you were asking which
Philip,
name, because
Philip,
I'm on.
Philip, hear me out just for a second. Your question is up next. Go ahead now.
So my question is this: I'm based in Los Angeles. I spend a lot of time here in Florida. I'm American. I have a production company here, and I bring many films to Florida, West Palm Beach, and other areas in Florida. I have a film that, of course, is going to start as soon as the situation goes back to normal. We're already in prep. And I have some actors who are supposed to come from Europe. So my question is, it's very difficult to get some latest information, updates about the U.S. travel ban. And the link I have from the White House says that some European who have the proper visa, proper passport to come to this country, if they come from the countries that are on the blacklist so far, which is France, England, Germany, Italy, etc., cannot come until the U.S. travel ban is lifted. But the European will come from
Philip, just give me one little direct question, if you wouldn't mind, please. Go ahead.
I'm trying to finish what I'm saying.
I can't understand what he's saying at all.
Okay, I'll go. Philip wants to know when the travel. What's the status of the travel ban in the United States?
As far as I know, it's still whatever it was is.
So nothing's changed on it per se, right?
No.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know on that. That's what he was trying to say. That's what the typed up question said. So thank you very much, Congresswoman. We really appreciate it. Jeannie's question is for Mike. Jeannie, welcome to the call. Jeannie, go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, good evening. Again, thank you to all of you. I know you're working very hard on everything. I have been unemployed since the 20th of March. I claimed my first 2 weeks, the whole 9 yards, and I haven't gotten a dime yet. And this morning it was saying my status is inactive. And it says to go to the website and hit reopen my claim. There is no link to reopen my claim.
Keith, I don't know if Keith, you want? I could. Do you have anyone specific? I could try to answer it, but do you have anyone specific who can talk about that?
I mean, not in terms of the website. The only thing we could say, we help with the initial application, but it is a nightmare. If you have any. What I would suggest is that you continue to go there and try to reapply, or do a paper application. We can help you with a paper application if you like to do it rather as opposed to going online. Lois, you want to add anything to it? I mean,
well, first of all, to the caller, I am so sorry for what you are going through, and it won't make you feel better to know that literally thousands of Floridians are facing the same issue. I wish Keith and I, the mayor and I, could do more to help you, other than the fact we have been pounding on the governor to try to fix this webpage. I would say that, let me ask the caller, did you take a screenshot of when you applied? Do you have any proof of the date of application?
Congresswoman, I've moved her to listen mode. Sorry about that.
Oh, you did? Okay. So what I would say to the caller is, hopefully you have a record of your date of application, and if you do, that should at least be proof to get you some retroactive pay. But the webpage just it's a mess. It's been a chaotic disaster, and really because it was almost designed for failure, to discourage people from going on unemployment. That was put in place by previous governors. So I know that this governor is trying to fix it, and I would just say to continue. It's the first day it opened up back. They shut it down for 3 days for repair. So I would just say to be patient and persistent.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Angel's next. Angel's for Mayor Dave. Angel, welcome to the call. Angel, go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the mayors, the congressmen, the congresswoman, and our first staff A members over there. I thank you so much. My question is for all of you, just in case of maybe the mayors can help me out. For how long will this last, and how would we will have businesses coming back live to like, for example, for me, I'm now unemployed, but I've already filed for the unemployment. But my question is, when will we be active back again to work? That is my question.
I'll take a crack at that, and the answer is
I'll take a crack at that too after you.
Okay, the answer is we don't have a clue. Okay, and I wish I did have a crystal ball that would tell me when all of this would be over. So we all have to be patient. We all have to be wise about what we're doing. And the difficulty is we don't have a vaccine yet. We're never clearly out of the woods until we get a vaccine. So that's why we have to be very careful as we proceed, even with reopening businesses. I don't know what industry you're in, but certain industries will be opening before others. But the short answer is, when this will be over is I don't have a clue. Congresswoman?
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you for that question. That probably is a question that everybody has on their mind. Let me say this. When things will be open and when things should be open may be two different questions, because you can see, if you watch the news, you see that some states, governors are opening businesses right now, even though they probably shouldn't be. What our scientists and our healthcare experts are telling us, and I think they really should be taking the lead on this, they are saying that if we want to start to really go back, we're not going to go back to normality anytime soon, but if we want to start opening more businesses and so forth, we have to have some type of universal testing. We have to have a system where people can get easily tested or do self-testing, where if they are infected, there is then what's called contact tracing, where people who they've been in contact are notified, and then people who are sick self-isolate themselves. That is really the only way that we're going to be really comfortable that people can start going back in any quantity back to work. Now, because we know that the social distancing is working, we will probably see some gradual re-entry, especially maybe as the summer goes on, if the number of cases go down. I think the federal guidelines say if the number of cases have got downtrended for 2 weeks, you can go to a phase in of I won't say normal life, but getting back to some things. So I think that what the county is doing, which is opening up some recreation, which I think will be good for people's health, mental health especially, but only if, as Mayor Kerner and Mayor James have said, people still must practice social distancing. If you're going to go out in a boat or you're going to go out in a park or play golfing, you cannot do it in close contact with other people. You got to keep your social distance. And if you're sick, you shouldn't be doing that at all. So, but definitely we need to have more testing, more contact tracing, and self-isolation. And that's the way we're going to start to get back. And I hate to say this, but right now, the testing system is not really in existence in the mass ways that we need. And we're just urging the president to step up to the plate and get the supplies manufactured that we need to make this happen. Yield back, Mayor.
Thank you. Kurt, next question.
You betcha. Tamara's up. Tamara, welcome to the call. Tamara, for the mayor, go ahead for your question. Others can jump in on this too. Go ahead, Tamara.
Oh, yes. Hello, Congresswoman, Mayor, and team. Thank you, first of all, for your concerted effort in this troubling and unprecedented time, so thank you. My question is about the library system. While the electronic and digital platform at the Mandel is a great program, but for those who do not have access to computers or printers now and like to have access to learning in a hard copy format, would you consider a strategy of a thoughtful rollout program now to open the library so that people can go in a controlled, safe way like we do to the supermarkets and drugstores, perhaps just for limited hours, for a limited amount of people, just to use the services for a limited amount of time? Thank you.
And thank you for that question. I think it's a very good question, and we'll take a look at that. We will certainly take a look at what kind of controlled exposure to the library, access to the resources there we can do. So I would certainly consider it. I'll talk to my staff and see if they could put together a plan that is doable, but that is smart and that is safe. So thank you for the question.
And thank you. All right, let's take Michael next. Michael for the Congresswoman. Michael, welcome to and anybody else can jump on this too. Michael, welcome to the call. Michael, go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you, Kurt, and thank you to all of you. I'm semi-retired, and I re-entered the workforce in November to augment my income. Since that point, of course, I've been furloughed. And in the period before November, I may not have had enough employment to qualify for Florida unemployment. So my question to you is, if that proves to be true, and if they do process my application and turn me down, number one, are there any changes that may permit me to qualify, even though I didn't have a lot of income during the so-called base period? And second of all, if I can't qualify for that, can I still qualify for the $600 from the federal government? Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I can give you happy news to your question. As it sounds like you were aware, previously, before the pandemic, there was no relief for folks in your situation. But with the passage of new federal legislation, folks who are either self-employed, independent workers, gig workers, or otherwise you are not eligible for Florida unemployment, you can apply. You will get a benefit that is somewhat equivalent to what Florida pays, which is up to $275 a week, which is really very stingy, unfortunately. But you also get the $600 a week from the federal government, and your benefit period will be somewhat extended.
Anybody else want to add to that, please? We'll take another question. Sherry, this is for Mike. Sherry, welcome to the call. Sherry, go ahead with your question, please.
Hi. I came late to the phone call, so I don't know if this has been covered yet. I have friends who are in their own businesses, and they cannot get any money from the banks or, of course, from unemployment. What can they do?
Sherry, the federal government and Congress actually just refunded both the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, including the Emergency Advance Program, as part of the EIDL. If they were not eligible or previously applied but didn't receive funding, they can access those programs now, but I do encourage that they apply early as the new funding that just replenished those two programs is likely to run out fairly quickly. To me, those are the two best opportunities, the Paycheck Protection Program and the EIDL loans.
Thank you, Mike. Let's take Janice next. Janice for the Chief. Janice, welcome to the call. Janice, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, my question was if they don't have any cure for the COVID-19, they don't have any specific medication. You have people such as myself that I have a breathing disorder. I'm also over 60. Why is it that they're starting to open things to me, it just seems that it's not going to help the process. It seems that staying home and social distancing has been working. Why would you not continue to do that? What?
Chief?
Hi, ma'am. I would certainly, that's a good question, and I would encourage you. You are absolutely correct on what you need to do for yourself, and you have to protect yourself at all costs. And with having a respiratory issue, and you're right, there is no cure, there is no medication that's been proved positive. But from my understanding, and Mayor Kerner can weigh in on this, is that they're looking to open the natural areas so that people can expand and get their workouts in and go outside and continue that social distancing. But, you know, if you have a specific condition, I would encourage you to do the same thing that you're doing right now, and that is looking out for number one and protect yourself. There's no reason, if you don't feel like you need to be golfing or going in a boat with your friends or, going out in a park, then don't do that. And I would encourage you to make sure that any family that's coming to visit you is taking their temperature, and because if you feel that you're in a vulnerable population, you have to make sure that your family members are maintaining their social distance and wearing their mask and practicing good hygiene in order to keep you from getting sick. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, this is Lois Frankel. I want to just add to that, to the caller's concern, which is a really good one. And if you look at polling from most Americans, I think 72% of Americans are saying, "Hey, go slow. We want less restrictions. We want more restrictions, not less." So here's the thing: our fire chief has given the caller really good advice in terms of her staying home. But here's something else that's very important for people who decide they want to go out either in a boat or they want to go to the parks or whatever. It is so important for you to socially distance, because the folks who are out in the parks can get back home and infect a loved one, especially an older family member or somebody who has compromised health. So we have to remember we are all in this together. So even if you feel fit and well and you want to go out and exercise, please be responsible, because people go back home and they can infect their loved ones.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Minnie's next, and Minnie's question is, I believe, for Mike. Minnie, welcome to the call. Minnie, go ahead with your question, please.
Hi. I would like to know if you've been working 40 hours a week, and then when this came up, now you're only working 20 hours a week, but you're still employed, but you can't get unemployment. What can you do?
This is Lois. I'm going to take a shot at answering this question. This issue is probably one of the most difficult listen, there's two ways that you could possibly get assistance since you've had reduced hours. Number one, and this is rare, is if the business or the employer you're working for has previously entered into an agreement with the state that allows workers who have reduced hours to get unemployment. That you would have to ask your employer whether or not they have that connection. The second is you can get unemployment, and this is a tough one, if your hours have been reduced enough so that you are earning less than $275 a week. So if you're earning less than $275 a week, you can go onto Florida unemployment, and then you can get some compensation, plus you should be able to get the $600 a week from the federal government. But this is probably one of the most unfair parts of Florida unemployment, and we really need to try to fix this, and that is that the people who are having reduced hours, the benefits are scarce if you are earning more than $275 a week.
Thank you again. Let's take Lee. Lee for the mayor. Lee, welcome to the call. Lee, go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, hello, this is Leah. My question is regarding the enforcement and compliance of the county's relaxation of both of the boating, golfing, marina, and the community pools. So does that apply to the cities, first of all? And if the sheriff is going to be enforcing it in the county, who's going to be enforcing that in the city? Secondarily, the Mayor Kerner mentioned the restrictions of like one person per jet ski. Are there limitations on how many people in a boat? Because you cannot social distance in a boat, just as though you can't social distance in a hair salon or a nail salon. And also regarding the community pools, private pools, municipal pools probably can have somewhat of a regulation, but I'm not understanding how people can be in a community pool and social distance when the water is flowing freely between people who we are to assume are positive.
And thank you for those questions. As a city, as the mayor of West Palm Beach, I am encouraging people to be self-policing. I don't want to have my police being hall monitors, if you will, for these various practices. So that's why we're probably going to move slower than the county. The county says they're opening up on Wednesday. I'm having my team put together a plan. We may not open up our boat ramps that soon. We'll probably wait another week to make sure we have a plan in place that I've set down with my law enforcement officers to make sure that they're comfortable with some additional responsibilities that they may have. As to community pools, most of those are probably going to be in HOAs, homeowners associations, and they will probably have their own set, and since they're privately owned, they will probably have their own set of policies that people with which people must comply. So the big enforcement is always the big issue. However, I really want to encourage people to be responsible and to self-police. Again, I don't want to use my police as hall monitors to try to, see if people are being responsible. We are all, as the Congresswoman said before, we are all in this together. And the behavior, the responsible behavior, social distancing practices that we've been exercising up to this point are saving lives, and I want people to continue to keep that top of mind as they move forward.
Thank you, Mayor. We're going to start wrapping up with final comments from each of our speakers, and I'm going to start with Mike. So, Mike, could you offer some final thoughts, please, and the chief right after that, please. Go ahead, Mike.
Certainly, for our small businesses out there and in the city of Palm Beach, I would encourage you to reach out to your local SBDC office. I understand that all of these small business programs, their eligibility and application processes can be somewhat confusing. So I would encourage you to utilize the free assistance that is available to you through our SBDCs. one of our SBDC disaster loan specialists can assist in understanding your particular circumstances and drive you in the right direction. I think sometimes that's half the battle, is just figuring out what is available to you as a small business enterprise. Also be aware of the fact that Congress has not completed its work. The work that was done last week to replenish these vital Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan programs is not done. Congress is working towards another stimulus bill, looking at continuing to add the resources that our small businesses across the nation and Florida will need. So continue to pay attention to what's going on and the resources that do become available for your small business enterprise.
All right, and next, if we could, Chief, do you have some final